Marketing and selling is essential in your online business. And when you have the right strategies and mindset, you not only can make a lot of money, but you can change a lot of lives. Welcome to the Online Marketing Podcast, where we help course creators, membership owners, and coaches market and sell their offers.
We're your hosts, Paul and Melissa Pruitt. Let's dive in and get started.
Welcome to our Summer Remix series, where you get to experience Paul and Melissa and their mastermind brainstorming and sharing different ideas on marketing and sales. Enjoy.
So we're going to start with Carrie.
So I have a membership that I've had for almost 3 years now. And my membership was really built into delivering it via membership, so I didn't have to resell it every single month, right? Yeah. And so I have produced a ton of content, right? I mean, because every month I've been producing 13 video lessons. They're 10-minute lessons after editing, but they start a lot longer. Anyway, I am getting burnt out with that. And about a year ago, I created a master's program, which gave members only 4 sessions. And I said, if after 12 months, they could move into masters if they wanted to. And so what I'm looking at doing is in January, I'd like to get out of the 13 lessons a month completely. Mm-hmm. I mean, because I can still deliver this to new people, because when people start, I start them at the beginning. But I figured after 3 months of content, I'm not going to break even any longer, because people leave after a certain point, right? And so I'm realizing my return is becoming less. I'm getting burnt out. My challenge at this point is I've gotten some people converted to masters. When I pull the plug, which I'm thinking I'm going to tell them at the end of the year, no more 13 session classes, I've got about 75 members right now that have not shifted to masters, but they don't want masters. They want the full class. And I can't seem to figure out how to get them converted and what to do with them. Do I just let them go? I mean, 75 is a lot to give up. So, I'm sort of doing I hate losing those. On the flip side, I'm paying a lot of money to keep them. So I'm just looking for any advice on how best to transition, right, during this, and any words of wisdom I'm willing to take. Yes.
Awesome. Good question, too.
So we always open it up to the group. Does anybody have any insight or input or some ideas?
So, Doreen.
Carrie, I had a couple of questions for you. So the 75 members, they're getting those 13 sessions. They're getting them, you said, every month. Is that right?
Right. But they have been almost with me from the beginning. So now it's every other month. I've actually only been doing 13 classes every other month. And then on the off months, I can charge them.
Okay. And is your membership only those classes?
There are other things, I do help sessions, I do a Facebook group, I do challenges, but what they love are the lessons. If I do a survey and said, if I did away with anything, they'd say the one thing not to do away with is the lessons.
Yeah. And to stay fresh and new, I'm not sure of your content, but what I noticed with my membership is that there was an ask about they really wanted to implement more. And so I have reduced the number of trainings per month and incorporated more, essentially office hours of Ask Me Anything, where they submit questions in advance, or it's a work session that other people are watching, right? It's a Zoom session. And so you already have that?
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm doing with my masters, because they get a help session that is just for them, right? And the idea is they get to work on their own things. But yeah, it's just those 75 people, I sort of can't figure out how to get them transitioned to wanting to do their own thing.
And that's where I think I was raising my hand to say, is it something to get your 75 warmed up to these interactive sessions, and that becomes, 80% and the training is 2% or something along those lines. But I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So Suzanne.
Hi, Carrie. I am Suzanne. The question that I had is, what is your niche and what is your price point?
Okay. My niche is quilters that want to design their own quilts and blocks using a program called Electric Quilt.
Okay. I actually know of someone who does that. That's amazing. Okay.
Okay. And my price point for my regular program, it's around $30 a month.
Okay.
I think it's 38, but 30 to 38, depending on what, prepaid option you sign up for. And then, I think that was the price point. Yeah. So.
And the master's group, what is there?
Oh, in the master's group, I actually have them sign up for 6 months for $80 or a year for $150. So it's actually a cheaper price point because I only give 4 lessons for those that are in the master's group. So it's actually a less expensive option.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And you prefer that method?
Well, I mean, I want them to be as long as they want to stay in my regular, but at some point, I mean, this is like a little quilt design program. After 3 years, I'm sort of out of content, new content. So part of me goes, okay, they're ready. If they've done, even a year or 2 years, they're ready to branch out and do more of their own things. Yeah. But with my support is really what I
really liked what Doreen contributed to you, and that she's tried that in her own group, I think is an excellent sort of runway for you. I think that people come to expect this from you because you've taught them how to treat you about it. That's what we do. But I would just suggest that thinking about, as I think Melissa said, start planting seeds about what 2021 is going to look like. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I would start planting those seeds now. And one of the things that I'm doing to just take some of the content pressure off is I'm having Vintage Week. Mm-hmm. And Vintage Week is content I'm repurposing. It's like a video I did a year ago, or a video did 2-3 weeks ago, showing it again. I think of the Saturday Night Live, vintage kind of intro. And then let them know that you're going to be bringing the 2 groups together. I would bring them together and make it easy on yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then when it's time to create another master's level, make it more expensive.
Well, and I was thinking I would increase the master's price. And so I may even tell people I'm going to increase it in December and try to get the conversion, and maybe even do a special. But then when I do my open enrollment, I do quarterly for my master's, I give them one last chance, right, to get in at the discount price type of thing. Because, I did think I have to increase the price to.
And 30 lessons, even though if they're just 2-minute little vignette lessons, you are really, really over-delivering, and I commend you for that. But you've also spoiled them, so.
Yes, I have.
So you're going to have to sort of maybe reel that in a little bit. I would want to reel that in a little bit because it gets old after a while.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely at that point. Thank you.
What's the name of your site? I'll tell my friend.
On Point, and I'm just doing a flash sale starting today, actually, for the next.
As of this conversation,
I will definitely do it.
She'll be excited about it.
And for Split Moment, Dr. Krin, you had your hand up. Did you want to contribute anything?
So I was trying to understand the numbers, and I think the numbers you had is 75 people. You're making about $2,500 almost a month, and you're wondering whether or not you want to give that up because you're exhausted, or it's just a lot of content. And I was wondering whether you had some great ideas, but I was wondering whether you can invite other contributors and change the format so that it's not so much, so heavy. I think giving up $25,000 a year, I mean, for me, it's a chunk of money. And so that's the only thing that I wanted to throw out there. So having guests come in, cross-reference people who may be doing similar but not necessarily identical. So I'm assuming it's the workload. And because you have so much content, you probably could just do a swap, or you're swapping your 3 years of content with somebody else in their group. So I don't know enough about.
Here's the ironic thing. I'm the only person that does what I do in my industry.
Okay, so that is pretty awesome.
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I've got such a small niche, though, right? It's like I'm never going to become huge because.
Yeah, if it's not necessarily identical, it could be, for example, I don't know if people want to do similar to you, so if they want to move into a business area. So I'm not sure. I'm just challenging you to brainstorm, to see if there's something else. Because from myself, I'd be very hesitant to throw 75 people out the door. And I know that's not what you want to do, because at this moment, it is $25,000 worth of income.
Yeah, I know. I said that's been my little bit of hesitation on the whole thing, right? It's like, okay, that's a lot to, throw away that wouldn't necessarily be easily replaced with new people, right, coming in the front door. And then I'm also thinking, well, maybe those people, when they don't have another option, right, when I have no more new 13 session classes, might say, well, it's better than nothing. Right?
That's where I was going to somewhat lead the conversation. So we always look at when we want to do dramatic changes, instead of looking at things as like an on and off switch, look at it as a dimmer switch. So what I would do is you always want to begin with the end in mind. And what I would recommend is to write down what would be the perfect membership for you. Because I know we always do this for our members, right? But we don't think about how is this sustainable for ourselves. Mm-hmm. Because if you disappear off of burnout, your members then aren't going to find a solution in the market at all.
Right.
And sometimes the members, you have to understand is when we go to our members over and over again and we ask them what they want, they're always going to say more. They're always going to say more.
Yes, they do.
They're not going to say give up things, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be careful when you ask that question.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I just feel inadequate when I do.
So, and the challenge is typically when people are more indoctrinated with you, they normally want to ascend. And how you have this maintenance program, the mastery, it's more of a maintenance where you're backing off. And people actually, as they're more indoctrinated with you, they don't want less of you. They typically are going to want more because they're like already in a certain rhythm that you gave them. So for them to suddenly go to 4 lessons instead of the 30 or whatever, like that sounds like a downgrade.
13.
Okay, 13. Okay, I heard 30 somewhere. Okay.
30 would be a lot.
Yeah. So what I would do though is I think these people love you. They don't have an alternative. It's more about how you present it is so key and so important. And what I would do is I would have a very open, vulnerable conversation. Now, this is just what I would do. Because I would at some point, I would just say, you know what, I'm here and I'm serving you guys. And what I also realize is that I can't serve you at my highest level if I'm burned out. Mm-hmm. And this is a vulnerable post and it's something I want to talk about because coming in to 2020 is I had grand visions on what this is going to be. And I think all of us got caught off guard and we all are reevaluating our lives. And I want to be very purposeful and very conscious. And what I realized is that over the past several years of me giving of myself to you is it's also come at the expense of my personal life. And that isn't good for any of us because if I burn out and disappear, then there's no lessons. Mm-hmm. And what I would love to do is to create something that is better and win-win for everybody. Now, I did create the master's program because the intention is after you learn the fundamentals from me that you really just need maintenance and everything. I feel like in this program here, I've taught you everything. But what I realized is that you want to have access to the library of what I've taught you. So since you've come through, anybody that's spent more than a year with me or whatever your threshold is, and this is, you can do this totally different than what I'm saying. It's just my idea based on what you said. The mastery is an ascension. And the idea is for me to initially help you get up and running. That's what this program is that you're currently in. But I would feel really bad and very conflicted inside that I feel like I've already shared everything that you need to know. So what I'm going to do is those of you that go into mastery, you're also going to get access to the library. This is the mastery library. And those are the 30 lessons that you've gotten from me over the last 3 years. So once you step forward, you have a virtual library that you can access anytime that you want to be able to do the next thing that you want to do. But also all my new content is actually held inside of Mastery. So if you want to stay here, you get access to the library. If you want to move forward and get what I'm working on now, then I invite you to come over into Mastery.
Ooh,
because I want to support you.
Now access.
Yeah. So cool. Maybe something like that, but I would treat it as a dimmer switch. Like everybody new that comes in your first thing doesn't know all of this that you used to do.
Right.
They only know what you're offering now. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So as you dimmer switch people over, all these existing people over, now the challenge though is that's $2,500 worth of income that you're now going to like downgrade into less money. So
I know.
Like you want to be protective of that as you're bringing people through. Because normally there's an ascension. Normally you would take what you're doing and reverse it, where you'd have a lower price thing, and then after they with you for a while, you're like, oh, you want more of me? You go up. So but it seems like this is more of a maintenance type program is how it feels to me. I'm not sure if I'm guessing.
Yeah,
right.
I would actually agree. I mean, that's the way I sort of view it in my mind. They still have access to me. So when they get stuck, I'm there for them, right? I'm giving them new lessons. I have an older audience, and I think sometimes I'm their game that comes out. When I send out a new lesson, it's something fun for them to look forward to and do. But I can only produce so much new game.
But does it really have to be new? Could you start in Mastery instead? Just do impromptu, over the shoulder. This is what I'm working on.
Yeah.
So you just do your thing. Like if you're making something for a client or making something for somebody else, they get an over the shoulder camera to watch you work. And they would probably buy into that all day long. And you don't have to produce new content. It's just whatever you're working on next. You turn on the camera and just have them.
Right. Because I would say that's what they love with the help sessions. It's seeing how my brain works as I work through their problems, right? Which you guys all probably deal with, same thing. So wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone.
You're welcome.
Love it. If you would like to work with us and our team to help you snap up more sales and incredible clients with a stellar marketing strategy that works, go to adaptivemembership.com and sign up for our wait list. We have a limited number of spots in our exclusive program to set you up for success and take action. We're waiting for you at adaptivemembership.com.